Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. NETT Radio.
Charge of this one. Are you run things? I'm leaving you in charge. Hear this, hear this. The party was nice, the party was pumping. Hey, yippee-yi-yo, and everybody having a ball. Yeah, man, yippee-yi-yo, until a man start the name calling. Oh, yeah, yippee-yi-yo. Then a girl respond to the call. I hear a woman shout out, who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Get back to flea infested mongrel. Who let the dogs out? 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 nothing if he don't have a bone. All doggy hold your bone.
Morning vibes, fresh energy. This is the NETT Radio Breakfast Show.
Who let the dogs out? Hey everybody, good morning to you, and of course welcome to it. Good to have you here. And just in case you're wondering where here is, it is New Era TT Radio, NETT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean. We take you above and beyond. It's such a beautiful day on the outside. We're giving God thanks and praises for life. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for bringing us together for another day. All that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing, honor to you. Good morning to Trinidad Tobago, neighbors in the Caribbean, friends and family who are streaming all around the globe. Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. Hoping that all is well with you in your species. I'm your Sir Charles. Happy am I to be here with you. And of course, remember, this is the Get Up and Go. We welcome everybody right now to the Breakfast Show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Good morning, and welcome to the Breakfast Show on this Thursday morning. And of course, the weekend begins tonight. People at a second after midnight, don't you forget it. And of course, this weekend is packed full. We have theater on this weekend. You don't leave out to watch corn. We head to San Fernando at Sapa on Saturday at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30. So 2 shows in Sapa, and these will probably be our last shows in San Fernando. So you should not miss it. And of course, I know the box office at Sapa is open from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily, and tickets also available at K Squared Fashions at C3 Center, Brentwood Mall in Chagoras, and of course, Friends of Marabella by the roundabout. You should get your tickets early. I know tickets have been selling at all outlets and at the box office since last week. So get your tickets early. Looking forward to it. Looking so forward to this weekend. But the weekend begins tonight, people. So good morning to wherever you are on the planet. And of course, we know you have a choice in who you watch and listen to. And thanks for choosing us on the Breakfast Show. Good morning to my co-hosts, Wendell and Sir Charles. Good morning, guys.
Well, good morning, Richard. Good morning, Wendell, and everybody else, wherever you are. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Richard Raghubar. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's an absolutely beautiful Thursday morning. I don't know if you guys felt that heat the last couple of days, but it was extremely hot on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's almost like if the man with the fork and the horns was here.
Is it Red Devil?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's a devil, I'm not too sure, I feel we have the devils in human form. I'm not too sure the little man with the fork and the horns is an actual devil,
I was talking about the hot stuff comic book man, All right. The hot stuff.
No, but it was extremely hot for the last couple.
It really was.
I haven't seen the weather reports, but last 2 days was extremely hot.
Yeah.
But we are in the land of the living. Condolences to Bungie Garland's mom, who passed away, I think it was yesterday or day before. Day before, because I was supposed to say it yesterday. Ian Alvarez, condolences to his mom. I can't remember her name, but there was an article in the newspapers. But she would have died on Tuesday. Bungie Garland has a brother. Well, I'm told it's his brother. He used to perform with Yankata, with Errol Fabian, Cyclops. Is that really Bungie Garland's brother?
I've been hearing that for a long time ago.
Because his surname is Alvarez too,
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And I
lives
haven't
not too
seen or
far
heard from him either for a while, eh?
But he lives not too far from me, you know. I see him sometimes driving or in the road, you know, because he is a what would you call that? A dwarf? Would you say that's a dwarf? He has dwarfism.
Yeah.
He's like 2 feet tall. It's so tall. You know, I always knew him as Bungie Garland's brother. But he's a very amiable guy, though. He's a very funny guy, though.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And he drives a car, you know. I see him drive it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think
He modifies certain things in it, and he could do what he have to do.
Well, clearly they would have refitted the car for him to get to gears and whatnot. You know? So condolences to the Alvarez family. And let me do my birthday greetings quickly out of the way. Wanda De La Rosa.
Yeah, condolences.
In Fort Lauderdale. Happy birthday, Wanda. Charmaine Buru lives out there in Cocorit. Victor Lake also lives in Fort Lauderdale, married to my niece. Sharon Charles. I also have Dr. Marlene Atz. Let me get this correct, because Pamela will never forgive me if I don't read her message properly. Dr. Marlene Atz is celebrating her birthday today, and also Mrs. Gloria Samuel Morris, right? And it's coming from your good friend Pamela Phillip. I'm calling your whole government name, Pamela Phillip, my very good resourceful friend, whom I've never met. Pamela Phillip is sending birthday greetings, and there's some birthday greetings on the chat. One is to Suzanne and Suzette's brother, something Jack. Where did I see it? I saw it somewhere in the chat. Neddy Jack, he is celebrating his birthday. Neddy Jack, that's the brother of Suzanne Jessup, Suzanne and Suzette Jessup, and of course, Mrs. Gemma. So it's coming from all his brothers and sisters. And I saw another one from Wendy and James, right? Her aunt Margaret Bonnet, who's in Fort Lauderdale. She's celebrating her 85th birthday today, 85 years old today. All right, Margaret Bonnet. All right. So and Abayomi Makano is also celebrating his birthday today. So and happy birthday to all the others who are celebrating birthdays all over Trinidad. It's October.
Well, I want to say a special happy birthday today. What? What are you saying? Anyway, I want to say a special happy birthday today. I want to say a special happy birthday today to Deborah Buku Mason. Today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Deborah, my dear friend. I can't call her friend, no? She's theater family. So you cross from friendship into family because we're so close in so many ways. So Deborah, I love you. Mwah! Happy birthday. And I hope you have. Well, I know what your plans are for your birthday already. So happy birthday, Deborah Buku Mason. But of course, I will call you after the show. But even though she's probably up, she'll be up long before she gets up like 3, 4 and start exercising and going on a walk and hike and all sorts of things. She's very, very active.
Yes.
So,
happy birthday, Deborah.
Happy birthday, Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah is a good, well, I'll have to call her my friend because I would have met her through you. But everywhere you see Richard Ragubasing, you see Deborah Buku Mason. You know, she's a wonderful person and a very talented person. You know? So Deborah.
Oh, yeah, extremely talented.
Yeah, extremely talented. Yeah, man. And always has a smile on her face. If she don't give you that worried look, you know it's gonna end with a smile. Happy birthday, Deborah. I don't know why she was October born or Libra.
One of the best human beings I know.
Oh, Libran people are indeed.
Yeah, but she should be Libra because she's the
Yeah, she is Libra. She is Libra. She's October born Libra. Yeah. That's an even more special person.
Here he goes again. Yeah. I don't know what Libra people do you.
What Libra people are the balance that keeps the society alive, Sir Charles. If not for Libran people, I don't know what would be happening in the world today. Mia Motley's birthday was yesterday, Prime Minister of Barbados. Her birthday was yesterday, so belated birthday greetings to Mrs. Mia. Miss
Yeah,
Mia.
her birthday was yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, so happy birthday to Prime Minister Mia Motley. Well, be happy belated birthday.
Yeah.
And that's a good cue to segue into our good news.
You shepherd in town, so guess what? There's some youth men that come to challenge me with the big word for the pie. So show them, all of them. One of the shortest one of the crew comes to challenge me. So small man, what's your name? Tell the cameraman your name. What school you represented? Point 14 in the house. That's the school I went to. So I'm going to challenge you, you know. So tell me the word you want me to spell something. What you come and tell the cameraman? Photosynthesis. Hey, Facebook, you know, long spell and things, so that'll help me, you know, right? Photosynthesis goes like PHOTO photo SYNTETESIS?
No, you're wrong.
Wrong? Well, you come and spell that word for me.
PHOTO.
What you come and tell the camera?
PHOTOSYNTHESIS.
Are you correct?
Right.
Well, already here we're going on. He deserves a pie. So we give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause.
Excellent. He deserves a pie. Is that what he said? Is a pie man?
If he spells the word correctly, you don't get the pie. Like, if you spell it correctly, you get the pie.
Okay. Well done.
So I'm kind of, encouraging them.
Yeah.
So that's it. The brother smiles to my face and say, that's nice.
Plenty of adults can't spell that word.
If what?
Plenty of adults can't spell that word.
But photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, photosynthesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was our good news for today. And of course, that takes us straight into going to greet all the people who are in the stream this morning.
Mm-hmm. There's lot of interesting news this morning. Two stories caught my eye, in particular, before I greet people. One is that $314 million raid that the police succeeded in getting the drugs in some forest in Palo Seco. $314 million in cocaine and marijuana. $314 million.
Yeah. In one space.
Again, I want to congratulate the TTPS, but please, TTPS, when we do these raids, when we're doing these raids and getting the drugs, could we get some people along with it? Could we not just go and pick up the drugs and not arrest people so we could find out the source of these drugs? Because it ain't passed through where the American people have their mother. It ain't come through there because they block off everything and they blow in all the boats to smithereens. It didn't come through the airport, we don't know. Did it come through another port? We don't know. It come through down by Cocorit, it come through by sea. Where it passed to reach here. 300 and being produced it here. We don't grow marijuana here except for fellas growing in the little pot, the little backyard now, with what they allowed. We don't grow cocaine here. We don't have the coca leaves here. Where the drugs coming from? When you see that drug shipment like that, and you don't capture anybody to find out the source of it, all we're doing is putting drugs for the rats to take. Okay? That's all we're doing. Packing it in some station for rats to go with it. So by the time it reaches the court, the evidence, half of the evidence gone, and we back to square one. Congratulations for seizing the drugs. Please keep it and make sure you follow up the investigations and arrest people. Because a lot of people are going to die because of that $314 million missing it.
You sure?
Trust me. 3 people got murdered yesterday. I draw no connection to it. Right? Oh Lord. All right. So let me greet people in the chat now.
You know what? You know what? Wendell, there's a slight problem with your internet this morning because you're a little delayed. You're not a little delayed. We're hearing you, but your visuals are a little delayed. I don't know if you're in a different spot. You're by somebody else's house. I don't want to mind your business. I don't know if you're by somebody else's house or you're somewhere else and I don't know what your business is and what life you lead in. But your internet a little different this morning. I just putting it out there.
I am in the exact same spot I've been in for most of these programs, except when I travel. You understand? I generally don't do these programs when I'm at somebody else's house. Okay? I am either at my office or
I don't know if you need to.
You want me to rejoin?
Oh, but I don't know if you need to.
Charles, you have any same problem?
I don't know if you need to reboot it.
No, I'm not having that same problem.
So then it's Richard Internet.
You seen him clearly?
Yes, as he normally is, really. Yeah, I mean,
You see him syncing with his voice and stuff?
well, I didn't check the sinking part of it.
Okay, because all right, but maybe
thinking. Watch. I thinking with my voice right now. If somebody complain,
okay, you're looking a little delayed to me.
Yeah, he looking like he there with from on my end, you know.
Okay, but maybe it's my end. Maybe it's my how
where are you then?
The broadcast is coming into
which
me.
house you buy this morning?
I said that's what I just said.
Which house
I said
you
maybe
buy?
it's how the broadcast is coming into me.
Hold on. Which house you
What?
buy this morning? He ready?
What?
He have the problem. Go home.
But you know what? Before we get
Go
into
home.
the stream,
Richard,
before we
go
get
home.
into to greet the people in the stream, I wanted to recognize Barbados, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and there's one more who have instituted the free movement that CARICOM agreed to, but was it 2 years ago? Either 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago when they said they were going to implement it by June. And all of them, big fanfare, they're going to have complete freedom of movement across Caribbean countries. And nothing happened. And I felt that Trinidad and Tobago should have taken the lead. And of course, now Barbados has taken the lead. Mia Motley really is the consummate Caribbean leader, yes. Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Belize, and there's one more missing. I can't remember, is it Dominica? I can't remember which is the fourth one, who have instituted that freedom of movement so that citizens of those countries can go to the other country and work and live without any visa or anything like that, just like how the Europeans do it in the European Union. So there's that freedom of movement that was instituted from yesterday, October 1st. I think Prime Minister Kamla had an address to the nation about it. And I heard some economists talking yesterday about, they don't know if Trinidad and Tobago should do it yet, and a whole set of crap. And yes, I am saying the word crap. These are Caribbean countries just like ourselves, and they're talking about some more developed than others. The kind of crap that Britain used to kind of say because they will always feel they were better than the rest of Europe, and now they're catching the tail because they Brexited, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We were all part of CARICOM when that decision was made, and we agreed. And I remember, I don't know if you remember when I used to be criticizing CARICOM and say, you can't even keep to all the timelines in terms of what you're talking about with that freedom of movement.
Yeah. So
Trinidad and Tobago should also make an effort, as should the other Caribbean countries. I know the only one who was reluctant was the Bahamas at the time, but everybody else signed on. So I don't know what is the big deal of having all of these qualifications now. Yeah. As if everybody want to rush to Trinidad. Give me a break.
Yeah. All right.
You know?
Are we ready to greet people now?
So anyway, but that was instituted yesterday, and so we could go to the stream now. But I wanted to put that out there. So you know.
No problem. That's a bit of a good news, eh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm clearly delayed with Richard. I don't know what's going on. Valerie Mendoza, top of the morning to the breakfast team. Suzanne Jessup says, God's love, grace and blessings to Sir Charles Richard Wendell. And she's also sending, of course, I read it earlier on, happy birthday greetings to NETT. Mr. David Abdullah will be our guest in the next hour, the head of the MSJ. Margaret Thomas says, bless, good morning, guys. Brennan Smith, good morning to the breakfast crew. Erica Charles also says, good morning. Ava Smith, Felix Kazo, Wendy Ann and Frank James, and of course, Wendy Ann sent greetings to her aunt Margaret Bonnet. Marlon Motley, good morning. Richard Wendell, Sir Charles. Odell Guy says, good morning. Slick Money Grip says, medal yellow, first red, medal yellow, first red.
Morning, Marlon.
You could tell Richard delayed, eh? Michael Cadet, Cheryl Johnson from Malabar. Boy Bidesi says from David, thanks so much, Wendell. I've gotten my thing. I'm happy to hear that, Mr. Bidesi. I'm happy to hear that you finally got it. Thank God for that. Ozzy Molino, good morning, beautiful TNT. Diane Payne, Sherwin and Juliet Kerr, Edwin Joseph, Carol Guevara, Julia Batiste, Trinidad Margot, Wayne Ramsey having Mugfest this weekend. So if you're out there in Fort Lauderdale, check out Wayne Ramsey's fete. It's one of the best fetes, pre-Miami Carnival fetes. Apollonius, Donna Ramlo Chan, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona, Bernadette, who didn't greeting didn't come out, Bernadette. But it's from you and Nelesia, no doubt. GH, Carl Guevara, who let the dogs out. Mrs. R says, morning to CJ, Rena, Carol, Miss Dabadi, Zena, Jillian, Wendy. All right. Lambert Bruce from El Dorado, Robert Taylor, Brent Hackshaw, Katia and Charles also sends greetings, and also to Arlene in Bronxville, Texas. Manuela Peters, Kenny in Harlem, Margaret Chow, Melchizedek, Gavin Frank, Donna Ramlo Chan, is Richard asleep? Robert Harper, Eunice Dublin, Merle McComey, Ila Rizan says, good morning, guys. Donna, Debbie Modest, Far Rockaway Wendell, are you a balanced person? Of course I am. Aren't you? Sankofa said, beautiful birthday graces and blessings to all those early October people. And Noel, Rena Boodoo Jennings, Marcia Rock, Joyce Phillip, Oliver Man Warren, nice to hear from you, Oliver. Carlisle Cupid, who called in yesterday. Okay, let me get some new names. Manuel Peters, 2 feet rat. All right. Joanne Cyrus, Cheryl M says, good morning. Carla Hercules, Ilarizan said the video looks in sync with the audio, so is Richard needs to sign out. Richard needs to go home, whoever he buy. That's what you need to do, go home. David McCarthy, terrific Thursday to all. Yes, CJ from New York. Lenley's W, that's a brand new name. Barbados, St. Vincent and Grenada, and the Grenadines, Belize, and Dominica. Those are the countries, Richard. Florence Bazi, that also sounds like a new name. Ava Smith, correct is right, Richard. Good move by PM Motley. Cheryl M also says, thank you, Richard, for pointing it out, and it's fantastic that Mia Motley is leading in this direction. Sankofa says, I believe the CARICOM nations don't trust each other, hence they don't trust Trinidad right now. Larry Charles says, good morning, gentlemen. GH is from, well, he said Dominica. Suzette Jessup, that's the twin of Suzanne Jessup. Scorpion Pepper, lots of rechatting here. Maria Celia, Derek Duncan, Ron DeSantis Jr., and Sherma Paul. Those are the greetings on the chat.
All right, so the people on the WhatsApp, and I'll try and skip over who is already on that other chat, right? So good morning to Kent in Laventil, to Mr. Billy in Powder Magazine, Archbishop Ashton Clark, good morning. Terry Ann Peters, good morning. Carlin in Caranage, Brenda, who is in Penal, Linda in London, Rockaway's are already there. Horatio's on that side. Fifi in Addis Ababa, good morning to you. Sandra Serrat, good morning. Captain Ron in Orlando. Zena in Rima, good morning to all you people. Yeah, so those are all the folks that we have on the chats so far, and to all the people who are just listening in on the website and watching us on Gael and other places. Good day to you. So we're going for the break, and we will be back, people. So stay with us here on New Era.
I just want to say good morning to my cousin Amanda Edmund, who's also in the chat. Good morning, Amanda. Hope you're having a fantastic day.
Good morning, Amanda.
Richard, when we go for the break, go home, please. Let's run, of course. Run home.
Pay $1 down on higher purchase plans at Furniture Plus. Enjoy fast approval, low interest rates, and up to 36 months financing. Retirees, self-employed, and permanent employees apply today. Buy now, pay later with Furniture Plus credit plans. Conditions apply.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop. Located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davanti tires. Certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services. Oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
The best show by far for 2025.
You don't leave out to watch Corn is the #1 comedy of 2025. And this weekend we head to Sapa in San Fernando on Saturday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m.
I never knew these plays were this good. I'm not missing another one.
Tickets available at the Sapa box from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And at K-Squared Fashion, C3 Center and Brentford Mall, Chagonas, as well as Friends of Marabella Bagel Roundabout. A play so funny, you can't watch it once.
All right. So I logged out and logged back in just in case it was in fact me. And I guess Richard is now about to get home. He has some movements to do to get home so he could get proper internet. Because I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, the deputy mayor of Arima called me and tell me, apologize for the garbage truck not coming in. But I say, but the garbage truck did come in because he said it's shut down by the double palm across the road. Yeah. I say, well, maybe they dare. I hardly doubt so because 3 guys. I say you'll be surprised.
You can't put nothing past anybody. Just wrong 3 guys.
I say you'll be surprised.
3 guys inside the double palm.
You got back from the double palm? You okay now?
What's that?
You got back from the double palm? I know it's just down the road.
The double palm opposite you. You want to tell me down the road from me? And opposite you. Yeah. So anyway, you could get into the Daily Express.
Sure. How did Rhea George die? Today, of course, is October 2nd, 2025. Dragon deal with advance with peace. You know what I found curious about the last set of energy talks that the government engaged in? It didn't include the energy minister. I didn't understand that at all. Tough call. That's also part of the story. Hillview edge Eldorado East 3-2 in championship clash, which means colleges football has restarted, or secondary schools football, let me say. Also trending in today's Express, police probe rape of a woman by a 15-year-old boy. Cops claim $314 million in cocaine and ganja seized. We spoke about that earlier on. 2 British tourists robbed at knife point in St. Clair. Now that story is a little misleading. They were going because Picton Street is not St. Clair. I don't know that Picton Street is Woodbrook. I've never heard Picton Street described as St. Clair. St. Clair Police Station responded, but Picton Street is not St. Clair. Cop critical after early morning shooting in Aruka, and Ali, mature decisions needed on U.S. discussion. And that's Dr. Irfan Ali, of course, weighing in on the CARICOM issue with Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago, right? So those are these trending stories in today's Express.
All right, so the news day for today, Trinidad Tobago Newsday, Alexander AG to visit military detention centers. That's one of the trending stories. Judge urges Nike and Puma to donate not destroyed bootleg footwear. Experts, Trinidad and Tobago Venezuela relations can be repaired. 314 million in cocaine and ganja seized in Palo Seco. And IMBA blames S&P downgrade on UNC government. And fire at St. Benedict's College classes postponed. Tuco head Calypso can bring positivity to Trinidad and Tobago, and the U.S. Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago hit by Trump government shutdown. So they're affected by that shutdown because government services, well, federal workers across the United States. Well, some are not at work, some are at work but no pay, at least in the interim. So that's where we are at with Newsday. Over to you on The Guardian, Sir Charles.
Thank you very much. In The Guardian, Venezuela not budging on Dragon, adopts wait and see approach, suggests TNT US need to stop insults. And the US State Department notes Maduro still a fugitive. Young tells government don't celebrate Dragon gas deal yet. Fears rhetoric with Venezuela may hurt talks. Shell refers all questions on Dragon gas revival to government. Imbert suspects budget will be read next Monday. And analysts, TNT economy can't support expanded CARICOM migration. Excuse me. The opposition leader calls for government talks with breakfast shed vendors. And there's just one other story which has to do with the cop that is critical after being shot in attempted robbery. And that is somebody that I know very well, you know, and it just goes to show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wish him all the best because they say he's in a critical condition. And I wish him all God's guidance to come through this whole situation. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah. I want to touch on 2 things quickly. Why hasn't the budget date been officially announced? I don't understand that. That's 1. And 2, Richard, you read a story just now about some Nike bootleg stuff?
I read a headline, yes.
A headline. You know, I always have personal stories, right? Personal experiences, right? So the other day I came home because I normally would take the garbage and put it out. I seen a next garbage bag next to the garbage bag I put out. So I said, where did that garbage bag come from? So I stopped my vehicle before I got into the yard and I opened the bag of garbage. I opened the other garbage bag. And in it, I am seeing 2 Nike boxes, because my son likes Nike shoes, right? And four 4 pairs of slippers. 2 of them Nike. I watch these slippers. I said, but nothing wrong with these slippers. Why you throw them away? So I take them out the garbage, naturally, and I put them in my vehicle. I say, but these slippers, somebody else could use them. So I had to tell him after, I had to kind of buff him. I said, why are you throwing away slippers that clearly somebody else could use? Not because they can't fit you anymore, or because you don't like them, or whatever, that you should throw them away. I said, there are people walking bare feet all over the place. They will be happy, and it's Nike slippers, Richard. Original, authentic. I say, you didn't pay for these, you know. I say, you ain't work. You might have buy them, but not with your money.
That is right.
Things like this.
Yeah.
You know, you had to study other people sometimes. And that was a message I sent to all people. There are people who are walking bare feet, people who are going naked, who wear tattered clothes, that could do with what you don't like anymore, you know, or what can't fit you, you know. Find a way to get it to them. Don't throw away things like this, because the garbage man want to pick up that bag and throw it in the garbage, the compactor, it crush up, and that's it. 4 good pairs of slippers, gone.
Yeah, because you see a lot of people don't like the work, you know, and everybody like easy thing that's wrong. So it's easy just to put it out in the garbage, and that's the night for me. But
children that get things so easy sometimes.
Yeah, they're not really studying, you know, if there's a homeless shelter down the road, or you find the closest one, and they could go and donate things, you know.
I don't wear bare feet, eh? So even I could have used the old slippers in the yard, around the yard. I don't walk bare feet, no way. You understand? So why are you throwing away stuff like that? Don't do that.
Yep.
So even all that bootleg stuff, I hope they make use of it. So Charles, fix that now.
What is that?
Fix that now. You didn't see what you just said.
Audience know anytime I play that, right? Okay.
Hold on, let me try to come up with a poll.
So can we open up the lines? Because of course we touched on several issues. I think that CARICOM freedom of movement is a wonderful step in the integration of the Caribbean region, and I hope that Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica and all the others, Grenada and all of them, join it soon. In terms of that freedom of movement, that you could go and work and live wherever you want in the Caribbean region. We're too small a region to have all of these obstacles.
All right. I've sent a poll for you. All right. So let me just also greet some new people on the chat. Joseph Clement, Ron DeSantis Jr., who's asking what's double palm. Ron, come down, Trinidad. There are plenty all over the place. Derek Billowin also joined the chat.
Ron, just know where Wendell, Ron might, if he's an early Trinidadian, he might remember places like
21
and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's an upgraded 21.
What was the one on Murray Street, Richard? What was the one on Murray Street, Richard?
I have no idea.
Richard, you have never visited those places.
I don't know what you all are talking about.
You never go to one on Murray Street, Richard. Don't lie.
I don't
Everybody
know.
Where the ladies of the night are.
I don't know what you all are talking about.
And the one on Gordon Street, that was 21, eh? So Charles?
I don't know. I only hear what I hear they talk about it plenty.
I think the one on Gordon Street was 21. And there's one on Donald Street, but I think that one's still running. Why I know all these places and I've
well, if you live in and around Port Moresby, you will know all these places.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
There was one in St. James on the main road. I know for sure Richard went this one. You know why? Because he used to line Smokey and Bud. One called Mushkins on Western Main Road in St. James. You don't remember that, Richard?
What was the name of it?
Mushkins.
The Mushkins. I know that.
Never heard of that.
Oh, please.
You're from St. James, so.
Well, maybe on Friday we could probably bring it back, Wendell, and ask people
we'll do
those
that as a
places
poll
that
on
used to
Friday.
be.
Yeah.
You
We'll
know?
do that as a poll on Friday. Have you ever visited one of these
Establishments.
I'm looking for the word.
We could ask
Office of Foreign Assets Control.
We could ask Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick do everything.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So people, we taking your calls, right? 281-1315 and 299-5156. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Lord, wake up,
I would like to know how they are getting through with the dragon deal after Madam choke in Venezuela. Are using the word choke. How she going to be getting through with dragon deal? You're interfering with the man on one side and you still want his oil on the next side? Who you think you are? Go do
Mr.
things
Big
before you open your mouth. If you don't have nothing good to say, just hush. You guys have a good day.
All right.
All right, Mr. Sampson, thank you very much.
I don't know. Gas is Venezuela. I don't know. I don't know why everybody negotiated and then ain't talking about Venezuela. Everybody's saying that they're doing this. They get an OFAC license and no OFAC. OFAC, Office of Foreign Assets Control. Just
what does it mean? Office of Foreign Asset Control, OFAC.
Yes,
okay.
OFAC.
You got to say that word very closely and quiet and slowly. Yeah? Not like Giselle.
Well, you ban Jason Samuel from the chat, putting up West Indies cricket score, trying to depress people here today.
Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, ladies and good morning, gentlemen. Norfolk, Virginia, front and center.
Morning, Virginia.
First to begin with, I just want to say, I just want to say good morning, especially to Richard, and especially good morning to the two other gentlemen, Waldorf and Statler. Folks who don't know who Waldorf and Statler is, there used to be a program. I only heard about it. I wasn't around. It was called the Muppet Show.
All in denial. That's what's going on. All in denial.
It was called the Muppet Show. Yeah. And play it, Richard, play it. Then they'll bring memories to them.
Richard in denial
Master
too. That's all right.
Richard. Yeah. So all of us got that. Good morning to you.
All right. Virginia.
There you go.
Gentlemen.
Tell me something. When there's a government shutdown in America, I guess whoever is the president or in charge, that is their shutdown. Would you put it down as that? Because it could be a bit misleading, if two sides can't agree on what to pass, I don't think it's really up to the president, whoever he or she may be. That's their shutdown. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's just my opinion. And furthermore, when you say MAGA, now I was active in MAGA, but I dropped out of MAGA very early because they took the swamp from all over and just add more to Washington. And I'll leave it like that. But MAGA is not just Republicans, it's Democrats, it's independents, make up MAGA, make America great again. But, left to be seen if some of them really doing that because the swamp infiltrated everywhere. So I just wanted to verify, I know the press is very influential and stuff, but Malcolm X said it best. The press is one of the most, dishonest press is one of the most dangerous components of any society. Anyway, thanks again, gentlemen, and have a great day, guys.
No
Bye.
problem, Virginia.
All right.
Let us know if you know anything about 21. Good morning to you, caller. Caller, are you there? Okay, let me try somebody else. We have two lines running this morning as well. All right. Good morning to you, caller.
Hello.
All right. Okay. I don't know what's going on with some of the callers. Maybe they're not sure when they engage. So let me engage you. Good morning to you, caller. You on line 1, right? All right. I don't. Would you believe the call just falling off, just so?
You have to turn up the volume, Sir Charles.
No. I don't think it's that.
Gentlemen.
Right. Good morning.
Yes, how are you guys going?
Morning, Captain.
Yes, first of all, I just want to say happy birthday to my son. This is Captain Ron here. Today's his birthday. And I know he's listening. Also,
What's
the lady who
your
called,
son's name, Captain?
Captain Ron, what is your son's name?
Sorry?
What is your son's name?
Kevon.
Kevon. Happy birthday, Kevon.
Happy birthday, Kevon.
The strangest thing is, tomorrow is my birthday, and then Saturday is my other son's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Big celebration in Orlando this weekend.
This weekend is a bacchanal birthday celebration.
Yeah, man.
Now, well, last Sunday was the celebration for me, and so Charles was playing music for that. And he didn't realize what was going on.
You and you're having all the reunion.
Yeah, it was like a celebration because tomorrow is basically my final day. I cannot fly for the airlines after tomorrow.
Oh,
okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's retirement. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a retirement function and a birthday celebration.
Correct. Anyway, Miss Sampson, she's very correct. How Kamala and they could want to do these things, but what it shows basically exactly what a lot of people have been saying. The main mission of Washington sending ships down there is to get the man's oil. That's what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. Anyway, y'all have a good morning, and I enjoyed the show. Good day.
Okay,
right.
thank
Captain
you.
Ron, you sound a bit sad this morning, though. I don't know if it's because of the retirement and not flying after tomorrow. You sound a bit down. Cheer up yourself, man.
Yeah, pick it up, man. Pick it up.
Yeah.
Mr. Patrick, good morning.
Good morning. Wendell. It's Chicago thing.
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
You know all where I used to go and where I go, right?
Mr. Patrick, I know you do everything now. I know you do everything. So I just say, I saw Mr. Patrick know them.
I do places like a crab hole. Well,
crab hole. Where crab hole was? Ever seen that where crab hole was?
I'm going to come and see some of you back on it.
Crab hole was Marvel, not so?
Marvel. And then this one in Tonga where everybody used to go. Colombia and Venezuela, boy. 21.
That was on what street in Port of Spain?
Nah, Gordon. 21 was Gordon Street.
Gordon Street. That is the one going across by the jail in the back there.
21 Gordon Street.
That was the best place.
I find crab hole is not a very attractive name for that. I don't find it an attractive name.
Richard, one thing I want to tell you something. The $250 integrity fee implemented from today. We had to pay that to the Trinidad.
What is that?
No, I don't believe so. You mean to go to the
all immigrants?
You mean to go to the United States?
Yeah, they say all. All immigrants who applied for a visa.
It's like a bond, isn't it?
Yeah.
$250
integrity for all immigrants who applied for a visa, a visitor visa, or a work visa.
Is that the bond that is that the bond that you get returned once you come back or something like that?
Yeah, the big beautiful something.
Yeah, but I don't think it applies to Trinidad.
But they say all throughout the world, I don't know.
Well, you ask my opinion, I tell you, I don't think it applies to Trinidad. I think it's a few countries. I think it's a few countries that have that bond applied to them. But
so you have to call the embassy and find out exactly what is going on because
they shut down. I don't they shut down, but they're affected by the Trump the budget.
Shut down. Yeah. And then the man was moving along, man.
Mr. Patrick, on Friday we can talk that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. No problem. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Friday we'll delve into that underworld of CARICOM and South American, Latin American nationals.
Yes. Good morning to you, caller. Caller, good morning. All right.
I'm hearing them in the back, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know. They're not hearing me. Caller on the 281 number. Good morning to you.
Hey,
Oh, you see, he listening to something else.
Morning.
Mr. Grant.
Hello.
Mr. Grant, listen on your phone.
Good morning.
Yes, we are hearing you.
Hello.
Mr. Grant, we are hearing you.
I'm not calling my phone.
Wendell Rachel.
Yes, go ahead.
Grant, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen on the phone.
You had crab roll. You had 21. You have ambassador. You have Carib. Okay? Yes.
All right.
I call your phone for a long while because you and send me back.
Because you're calling my cell phone.
Yeah.
Mr. Grant, what you do is you call my cell phone while I'm on air.
Yeah. Moon River.
Mr. Grant, we'll deal with that on Friday, please God. Call back on Friday. I'll call you after the show.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Charles, Mr. Charles now. Sir Charles, you can put up the poll. And our poll today is, do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean? All right, something that was initiated as of yesterday. Do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals?
It was initiated yesterday in only 4 countries.
Yeah. It was
Dominica, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados.
Mm-hmm. I saw a comment here from Kurt Hope, who says he is welcoming it because he could now do business on some other islands because he's been waiting 2 years to get something registered here. I think that's what I read somewhere earlier in the chat. All right? Kurt Hope, if you're listening, you could put back your message. I lost it, but I saw it somewhere.
Okay. Right? Dabadi, good morning.
Morning, Charles.
Morning.
Morning, Wendell. Morning, Richard.
Morning.
So, seems like this government like to deal with ghosts because there were so many ghost gangs. I think when the Minister Mullah said he will be willing to go to Venezuela to talk to anybody, I believe his ghost they're going to speak to. Because remember, they don't recognize Maduro. They said he's a murderer, he's a this, he's a that, and the other. So I don't think is real people are going to meet. As far as they're concerned, he's not the president. So they are going to meet up with ghosts, right? And I like what Mr. Maduro said. They had to take that. He is on his terms. He will talk, not on their terms. So let me ask you a question: did they open? Is Caribbean Airlines flying to Venezuela again? Or I don't know if they said they canceled all their flights. So they started back? I would like to know, please.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I
could vote one time?
Yes, you could vote.
You could vote when they're recording it.
Yes. So Richard, right. I'm here, right, Richard, right.
We'll remind them, don't worry.
And before I go, I might tell people about the station and tell listeners as well, right? So my sister Anne Marie, her 2 children, young people, and her husband, you know what? They told me this show, they don't watch television at all, morning programs, nothing. And the children are getting ready to work and so on. And they listen until around 7:30 when they leave. They said this show is good. They never know I used to listen to something good. So that's why I told them to listen. Richard, my brother-in-law, said, you are really intelligent guy. So I said, well, he's gonna tune me for, right? So you all have a good morning. My sister Anne-Marie, her husband Iluko, her sisters, her daughter Zena, and Aduni. Good morning to you all.
Oh, good morning, guys.
Thanks for the endorsement, Ms. Davidi.
And thanks for choosing us.
Of course, we go to the 7 o'clock news. If I don't do this, nobody else will. And when we come back, we'll take your votes. And then we'll have our guest, Mr. David Abdullah, all right, of the MSG.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. The American Chamber of Commerce of Trinidad and Tobago has welcomed news of U.S. support for the Dragon Gas proposal. In a statement, AmCham TNT said, "It is hopeful this will lead to the granting of the necessary licenses from the U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control." The Chamber commended Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar for securing Washington's backing, calling it a reaffirmation of the strong partnership between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States. AmCham added it is optimistic the government will engage Venezuela and private sector players to ensure the project benefits citizens of both nations. The Dragon gas field off Venezuela's coast has faced delays due to U.S. sanctions, with GOFAC approval seen as critical to moving forward. The Japanese government says it is closely monitoring rising tensions between the United States and Venezuela in the Caribbean. Tokyo officials voiced concern over the recent U.S. naval buildup and Venezuela's military response, which has brought operations closer to Trinidad and Tobago's shores. Suzuki Ritsuko of Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Japan continues to call for dialogue and respect for international law while carefully observing the situation. The U.S. has deployed warships and submarines after designating Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua a terrorist group, while Venezuela has launched Sovereign Caribbean 200 and moved troops to Sucre State near the Gulf of Paria. Japan, a key energy partner that imports LNG from Trinidad and Tobago, warned that the escalation poses risks for regional stability. A police officer is fighting for his life after being shot multiple times in Aruca early Wednesday morning. He has been identified as 51-year-old PC Eamon Andrews, attached to the Aruca police station. Around 2:45 a.m., residents reported hearing gunshots on Constantine Street. When his common-law wife rushed outside, she found him bleeding on the sidewalk. First responders took Andrews to Mount Hope Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery for gunshot wounds to his chest, back, and leg. Investigators recovered 4 spent shells and believe his licensed firearm was stolen in the attack. Police say welfare officers have been assigned, and enquiries are ongoing. 2 visitors from London were robbed at knife point in St. Clair on Tuesday night. Police say the women, aged 25 and 28, were attacked around 9 p.m. while walking back to their apartment on Picton Street after a stop at the Queen's Park Savannah. 2 men approached them from behind in the poorly lit roadway, placed knives to their neck and stomach, and announced a robbery. The assailants escaped with both women's crossbody bags, which contained 2 iPhones, AirPods, cash, and other personal items. The women were not physically injured, but officers are continuing investigations. The National Petroleum Marketing Company is reminding the public to follow critical safety steps when handling LPG cylinders after the death of 47-year-old Rhea George. George died at the San Fernando General Hospital on Saturday, nearly 2 months after suffering burns in a kitchen explosion, allegedly caused by a leaking NP cylinder. In expressing condolences to her family, NP urged customers to perform a soapy water test at all cylinder connections before use, and to immediately disconnect the cylinder if a leak is suspected. The company stressed that safety remains paramount and that all LPG cylinders are inspected before distribution. Customers are also advised to report issues to their distributor or contact NP directly via its hotline, WhatsApp, or email. George's funeral arrangements are pending an autopsy. In the region, Georgetown, Guyana, President Irfan Ali is urging CARICOM leaders to approach the growing U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean with eyes wide open, Ali says, while some leaders may see the presence of American warships as positive, the situation demands careful discussion, especially with threats like drug trafficking, illegal migration, and the use of regional waters for transshipment. The United States has deployed submarines, aircraft, destroyers, and an amphibious squadron to the southern Caribbean as part of its crackdown on drug cartels. Venezuela has since moved troops to its borders in response. Trinidad and Tobago has declared support for Washington's actions, with Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar telling the UN that the Caribbean is no longer a zone of peace. Ali, however, insists Guyana will continue to push diplomacy over hostility. Internationally, millions of U.S. federal workers are now at home without pay, while others in critical services, from airport security and air traffic control to the postal service and the military, must keep working despite the government shutdown. The deadlock in Congress stems from Democrats insisting on preserving healthcare benefits for the poor, while Republicans push for cuts. House Speaker Mike Johnson accused Democrats of holding the government hostage, while Democrats say President Trump is deliberately hurting ordinary people. Shutdowns aren't new, but they've become longer and more bitter in today's divided politics. This one has turned personal, with Trump posting mocking videos of Democratic leaders online, videos they denounced as bigoted. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
change, give me big money wine. Dollar, 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 dollar. Hip I love the way you sing, throwing waist like rain. Right now, I want to learn, so show me a game. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar, cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Looking good, cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Yes, cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. She says she don't like the pace, we going too slow. Like she want me broke up my waist and raise the tempo.
Wake up, rise up. It's the Net Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
Leave all the small change,
Yeah. Big money time. If you remember all those places, you go and spend your big money. Yeah. People, welcome inside of the 7 o'clock hour here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio, and Gael Caribbean. We are happy to be here with you on this Thursday as you get ready for the weekend. And remember, you can pick us up all day, every day, NewEraTTRadio.com, New Era TT Radio on TuneIn. Get us on all your Google and smart devices. So continue to vote on the poll. Remember the poll being, do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean? And also, remember when we come back after the poll, this is the final day for you to get your name in the hat to go and check out Richard's play on Saturday, okay? So remember, you will just call, give us a name. If your name is already there, you don't have to call. And tomorrow we're going to do the draw to see who gets to go and check out the play. And you also get a bottle of wine courtesy of Rumbox. So all those are the things that you can win in a short, right? So keep it right here on New Era TT Radio. Continue to vote on the poll. Remember, yes or no first, and anything else after. We're coming back.
Chamflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Chamflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Chamflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Chamflair. We do it all.
Don't miss Furniture Plus Inventory Blowout Sale. Get up to 65% off in-store and online. Enjoy massive savings on furniture, appliances, and more. Hurry, this deal won't last. Shop now and save big at Furniture Plus.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
the best show by far for 2025.
You don't leave out to watch Corn is the #1 comedy of 2025. And this weekend we head to Sapa in San Fernando on Saturday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m.
I never knew these plays were this good. I'm not missing another one.
Tickets available at the Sapa box from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And at K-Squared Fashion, C3 Center and Brentford Mall, Chagonas, as well as Friends of Marabella by the Roundabout. A play so funny, you can't watch it once.
Of course, we are back on the breakfast show after that break for news and some advertisements. Of course, you don't leave foul to watch Corn is on this weekend, and you know the weekend begins tonight at a second after midnight. So it's on this weekend, Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30 at SAPA, the Southern Academy for the Performing Arts in San Fernando. Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30. Tickets available at the SAPA box office from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily, and also at K-Squared Fashions in C3 Center and K-Squared Fashions in Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, as well as Friends of Marabella by the Roundabout in Marabella. That's where you can get tickets. Get your tickets early. You can also purchase tickets online. Check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for the methodology in paying for your tickets online and what the process is. But anyway, we're looking forward to it. I know the cast is extremely excited. Of course, three of the cast members are actually from San Fernando. So, you know, almost half of the cast is from South. So we're looking forward to it and having a great time in San Fernando this weekend. Don't miss it. Great distress.
You're going silent, Richard.
In throwing off any worries you may have in life. So you don't leave foul to watch Corn. Of course, this is our poll time where we do the poll results. Let me see if I can pull up the poll. There it is.
Yeah. Do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean? That was initiated in 4, I think, Caribbean islands yesterday.
But Belize is not an island.
Okay. What are those countries, Richard?
Belize, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados.
All right. That was implemented as of October 1st. So do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean?
Are you ready, sir? Already, so I just recorded that vote.
All right. Kurt Hope, yes. Miss Mendoza, of course, she voted already. Diane Payne, yes. Ila Rizan, Nazir Ali says yes. Donna Ramlochan, yes. Kazim Mohammed, yes. Ava Smith, yes. Boy Bidesi, yes. Rena Jennings, yes. Terrence Roach, yes. Debbie Mitchell, yes. Helen Prescott, yes. Gregory Boyer, morning Gregory, yes. Gregory and Kathleen. Joyce Phillip, of course, yes. Beauty Culture, didn't vote. Michael Oliver, yes. Brennan Smith, yes. Apollinaus, yes. Michael Cadet, yes. Eunice Dublin, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. Long overdue. GH, yes. Mr. Patrick is asking if it's for professionals only. I don't think so, eh?
No, it's complete free movement.
Yeah, complete free movement. Melchizedek, yes. Cheryl Henry, she didn't vote. Suzette Jessup, yes. CJ from New York, yes. Jennifer, yes. David McCarthy, yes. Trini Gets Fit, yes. Bridget Buchanan, of course, that's a new name too. Joyce Phillip, who dressing Derek these days. Sir Charles, that's his son. Ron DeSantis Jr., yes. Ingrid from Tucson, yes. Brent Hackshaw, yes. And Kurt Hope has confirmed he's been waiting 2 years to get his business off the ground. So hopefully he'll be able to invest in one of those other islands. Slick Money Grip, yes. Trini in Boston, yes. Kurt Hope votes yes also. Well, he voted earlier on, right, Richard? So you don't have to put that one down. Jason Samuel says yes. Dean Allen didn't vote. Charmaine Bernard, yes. Margaret Thomas, yes. Crystal Stevenson, yes. Vincent, yes. Derek Billion, yes. Carol Gavawa, yes. Howard Hernandez, yes. Ann Noel, yes. Kenyon Harlem, yes. James Kamau, yes. And Richard Phillip, yes. Those are the votes I have.
All right. So on the WhatsApp, we have Pauline saying yes. Brenda saying yes. Miss Sampson saying yes. Judith in Tobago, yes. And Horatio saying yes. Vincent saying yes. Captain Ron saying yes. Fifi saying yes. Zena says yes. Mahi says yes. Joseph Clement, yes. Long Islander, he says yes. And Archbishop Ashton Clark says yes.
And I have one more yes from Scorpion Pepper and Alistair Hart and Classic Brother. Oh, the 3 votes just slip in there.
They're just coming in.
Yeah, and Colted Finch. So that's 4 more yeses since the chance.
Yes, 4.
Like we break the record today.
I ain't reached close yet.
Don't make joke now.
Yeah, no.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so our poll this morning: do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean? We had 62 people voting on the poll this morning in the allotted time, and of the 62 people, every single one of you said yes. There was not one negative vote. So 62 people. This is one of the few times that we have 100% in one direction or the other. And so it's 100% of the people who voted this morning shows yes, they do support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean.
It is a way by the breakfast show of bringing all peoples together with these types of polls. We have married the PNM, the UNC, the MSJ, the Michaela Party, the COP. We've married everybody together with one poll, much like what the Caribbean needs. That's what we were able to do this morning.
All right. And so that was our poll for this morning, and the polling is now done.
Beautiful. UNC and PNM people should feel happy about the breakfast show this morning.
All right. Well, while we wait on our guest people, remember this is the final day for you to get your name in the box to see if you can get 2 tickets for Richard's play either tomorrow or either Saturday or Sunday.
No, it's Saturday. He says Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, God. Nah. What now?
Right. Okay. Let me see how Sunday don't sell out already.
So, Charles, I sent you an image.
Yeah. I work on the obituary just now. Right, so people be taking your names. Just all you have to do is call, give us a name and where you're calling us from. And if you have already done so, you don't have to do it again, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. New names, new callers today, right?
Right. And so when they'll start the clock and we go in from
the clock has been officially started.
Nice. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, Estelita Sampson Nando.
All right, Estelita Sampson from San Fernando. All right. 281-1315-299-5156. You can use any one of the numbers. We just have limited time to get you inside here. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Susan Jessup, Shoguanas.
All right, Susan from Shoguanas. Okay, thank you very much, Susan. Caller, good morning to you.
Eva Smith, San Fernando.
Eva Smith from Smith from San Fernando. Okay, thank you very much, Eva Smith. All right, caller, good morning to you.
Morning, Wendy Ann James from Ranguez.
Wendy Ann James from Ranguez. Okay.
1 minute to go.
1 minute call now, and don't forget, it's not just a matter of winning the 2 tickets. You get to actually win yourself a bottle of wine courtesy of Rumbox also.
That's
hello,
good.
Second prize.
Second prize. Yes,
you're
yes,
making it
yes.
sound like it's the same price, and you don't want to do that.
Well, that's why you're here. Thank you very much. Kola, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Name and where you're calling from.
Anthony Peters from Pinal.
Anthony what?
Peters.
Peters from Pina.
From Pinal.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. All right, we counting it down.
20 seconds left.
All right. Kola, good morning.
Morning, Suzette yourself from Shogunas.
All right. Suzette from
Shogunas.
Yeah. Counting down. Kola, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Shirley Lewis Oliver, San Fernando.
Shirley Lewis Oliver from San Fernando. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Sir Charles.
That's it? Okay.
That's it.
All right.
So that was the last set of names that goes into our figurative hat for 2 prizes tomorrow. So that Charles will arbitrarily give numbers to all of those names, and I will choose a number when they will choose a number. And of course, one winner will get 2 tickets to the Saturday night performance at Sapa of You Don't Leave Foul to Watch Corn. And that is actually worth $500. And a bottle of wine from Rumbuck that is worth $1,000. And
so Charles, put up our honor.
But anyway, our guest is in studio. He's backstage. So let's bring in our guest for this morning. Of course, we'll be speaking to MSJ, the head of MSJ, David Abdullah. And let me just get our Let's Talk segment on the road. Yeah. Good morning, David Abdullah, and thanks so much for joining us on the Breakfast Show this morning.
Morning, Richard. Morning, Wendell. Sir Charles. Morning to all the people who are tuned in. Thank you for
Morning,
having me.
Mr. Abdullah. Thanks for joining. Is this the first time we're interviewing you on this show? Is it?
On this show, on this station, yes. I've been on the station before
Yes.
with Tony Fraser and I think with Andy as well. But certainly with Tony. Yeah.
Right.
But first time with you guys on Sir Charles station, man. Excellent.
Yeah. This is a lot younger version than what you would have experienced before.
Well, I feel younger, but I don't know if you guys look any younger than that. So I saw
But thanks so much for joining us. I guess we could start off with our poll question this morning, Mr. Abdullah. Do you support the free movement of CARICOM nationals throughout the Caribbean?
Simple answer, yes. Complete free movement. It's something that should have happened a long time ago. Just to give the historical background, the CARICOM had stalled after the assassination of Maurice Bishop and Jackie Creft and others on the 19th of October and the invasion by the US. George Chambers was then Prime Minister. He had called a CARICOM Heads of Government Summit up at the Hilton, because he was chair of CARICOM at the time, to have a CARICOM initiative, not a military initiative, but a CARICOM initiative that would have seen Hudson Austin and Bernard Cordon, they exit the government or whatever it was at the time, Revolutionary Military Council, whatever they call themselves, and to have a transitional arrangement and later on, election and so on. And while he was brokering that arrangement with CARICOM heads, Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, Eddie Siaga and others were on the phone to Washington. And then Eugenia Charles flew to Washington, stood by Ronald Reagan's side when Reagan announced that the US would be invading Grenada. And CARICOM really fractured very badly at the time. And as a result of that fracture, which it limped along for a little while, at the Grenada meeting, incidentally, of CARICOM heads, it would have been in 1987 or 88, 88 probably, the then Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, A.N.R. Robinson, proposed a major commission, which was, and that declaration of the heads of government was called the Grand Anse Declaration, a very important moment. And coming out of that was the establishment of the West Indian Commission, led by Sir Sridhar Ramphal, also with people like Alistair McIntyre and a number of other leading Caribbean personalities. And they produced a report published in 1991, if my memory serves me right, called Time for Action, which proposed that we move from a free trade area, because we had a free trade area, CARIFTA before, called the Caribbean Free Trade Area, to a Caribbean single market and economy. And so that 1991 to now, we have significantly established a Caribbean single market, but not a Caribbean single economy. And one element of the Caribbean single economy is the complete free movement of people. They have established free movement of capital to a significant extent, free movement of goods, obviously, under the single market, but the single economy also requires complete free movement of people. And 1991 to now, what's that, 34 years? It's been a hell of a long time in making, and it should have been implemented a long time ago. But a lot of insecurities in CARICOM. I mean, we're even having problems with who gets picked on the West Indian side, and if there's insularity, and who is the selector, and all of that kind of thing. So if we have problems with that, you know, although our cricketers have free movement of, you know, so there's been a certain free movement. Andre Russell plays for Knight Riders. Jaden Seas plays for Antigua,
Antigua,
and so on and so on. So that's our artists move. Richard, I don't know if you have free movement and you could, you know, do your plays up the islands and that kind of thing without any difficulty. Certain categories of persons, university graduates have free movement, and you have to apply for a CARICOM skill certificate. And then they also introduced other categories of skilled persons. So it's been happening to a certain extent, but the complete free movement of everybody has not taken place, with exception of 4 CARICOM countries. So it's been a slow process, and I support it 100%.
Do you see the potential for a similar fracture based on the utterances of the current Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar in the issue with the US coming into the Caribbean?
Yes, and my very first statement, which I must have issued about a month ago, I warned about that danger. And in fact, I may have even warned about it when Mr. Trump was elected president, because in his first term, you recall he had a meeting of some CARICOM heads at his resort in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, and only some CARICOM heads were invited. Those who had a position that was close to the United States, and those were Prime Minister of St. Lucia at the time, Chastanet. Of course, he's out of office now. Haiti, Bahamas, Jamaica, and maybe one other. And at that day, a number of those countries then joined what was called the Lima Group. The Lima Group was Canada, the United States, Peru, because of course Lima is the capital of Peru, and 1 or 2 other Latin American countries. And they formed a bloc within the Organization of American States, which was trying to use the OAS as a medium or an institutional mechanism to get regime change going in Venezuela. The then Secretary General of the OAS, Luis Almagro, actually, with a vote which was supported by some of those CARICOM countries that I mentioned, seated Juan Guaido as the president of, or recognized Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela, and seated his representative at the OAS, which was a total violation. And you recall at the time, so there was a fracture within CARICOM. I mean, it didn't cause CARICOM to break apart, but there were tensions. And you recall at the time that Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, then opposition leader, also supported publicly Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela, which was a fiction. He wasn't a president at all. He had no authority, he had no power, but the US gave him a huge amount of money so that there were Venezuelan financial assets in the United States that were seized by the US completely illegally and so on, and which monies were handed over to Juan Guaido. What he did with them, of course, is a matter of speculation, but there have been accusations of huge corruption, including by the US, incidentally, of that money. So with this one now, the first statement or the second statement that was issued by our Prime Minister, when she said that she would not, she has not engaged CARICOM and she does not intend to engage CARICOM, signal that CARICOM would have great problems going forward. Of course, she also did not attend the CARICOM Heads of Government Summit in Jamaica in July. And there have been other statements that she made. The Caribbean, the last one at the UN, when she said that the zone of peace, Caribbean zone of peace, is a false ideal. Now, she said that virtually the same day as Prime Minister Motley, Prime Minister Gonzalez of Barbados and the Grenadines, respectively. Later on, the President of Dominica and the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda all reiterated the position that the Caribbean should be a zone of peace. So here on the largest international stage, one Caribbean Prime Minister took a position that was clearly contradictory to all the other CARICOM heads of government who spoke, and that was not a good signal whatsoever. And so we are not in a good place with CARICOM. The Prime Minister said Trinidad and Tobago first, which is a kind of echoing of a slogan by Trump, America first. But the United States can do things that Trinidad and Tobago can't do, given its size, its military power, its economic strength, and so on. Although it is dependent on the rest of the world, because we must know that the majority of U.S. debt, and the U.S. is the biggest debtor in the world, but the majority of U.S. debt is actually held by China and Japan in the form of U.S. bonds. And if, for example, China decided to try and crash the U.S. economy, they could sell all the bonds at discount price. Of course, that will affect the Chinese economy and the whole global economy as well. So that is one of the reasons why they haven't done it. But I mean, the U.S. economy could be in a very precarious position if China and Japan decided to pull the plug. Trinidad and Tobago doesn't have that kind of clout. And so when we look at Trinidad and Tobago first, we have to appreciate that the majority of Trinidad and Tobago's non-energy exports or manufactured items go to where? CARICOM. I'm sure you guys have gone up the islands, right?
Yes.
Regularly. And when you go in a supermarket in Barbados or Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Jamaica, what do you see on the supermarket shelves?
Yeah, Trinidad products.
Trinidad and Tobago products. So we cannot and should never try to engage in any kind of fracture within CARICOM, because our business people will be affected and therefore our workers will be affected. We will lose foreign exchange and so much more. So, we need to strengthen CARICOM, not do anything that would fracture or weaken it.
In terms of that, connected to the issue of the poll that Wendell would have brought up and CARICOM free movement, do you think it likely at all under the current Trinidad and Tobago administration that we will accede to that free movement, or you don't think it will happen under this government?
I don't think it will happen under this government. As I mentioned, there are categories of free movement already in place, yes. But the complete free movement, I don't think that will happen. But it is something that is necessary. We do have a challenge in certain areas of our economy in terms of labor. Now, those gaps are being filled, as we all know, by Venezuelan migrants, yes? So you go into supermarkets or you go into different stores and so on, and you see Venezuelans doing the kind of low-skilled jobs, which a number of Trinidadians could be doing because, a number of people are unemployed. But we do have gaps in our labor market. And so it would make sense, in my view, to do that, because what it would also enable are some of our skilled persons to then move into other CARICOM countries to get employment. Yes? Because there's a reciprocal thing. It can be that, they're going to open up totally to Trinidad and Tobago, and Trinidad and Tobago is opening up totally to them. It's a reciprocal type of arrangement. So we should have it. Guyana needs a huge amount of skilled people, particularly in the energy sector. Quite a few Trinidadians are across there, but more could go and should go, and construction workers and so on, because Guyana only has a population of 800,000 or 900,000 or something like that. So we really need to move to full opening up.
I wanted to touch on the issue of the first few months of this current administration, and in that first few months, you saw, and of course, they had aligned themselves with Labour. Labour is part of the alliance of that swept the UNC into power. But within their first 100 days plus, you have 30,000 people roughly on the breadline through CPEP, reforestation, and URP. And of course, we're not so sure what is going to happen in the budget with regard to redressing those issues, or what the budget holds. We don't know at this point. And I know on this program, we wondered why Labour was so silent. I'm not talking about MSJ. I think MSJ articulated a position on it. And I think Michael Aniston articulated a position on it. But generally, Labour has been talking about generally the Labour movement, has been very weak or very tepid in its response to these mass firings, which are unusual in a Trinidad and Tobago landscape. What do you think accounts for that?
Yeah, well, I am aware, Richard, that JTOM did issue a statement, and the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union, which is a member of JTOM, they spoke about the URP one. So I do know that there have been some statements, but yes, generally speaking, the trade union movement has been less vocal than traditional. That is correct. Now, I'm aware that maybe they are having discussions at levels that I am on, in circles and on corridors that I am not part of and not privy to. So in an attempt to leverage, if you wish, whatever political capital they have in an effort to try to redress some of these things. So sometimes you do that, and a public statement I'm not trying to justify it. I'm not saying I'm making some general statements there. Sometimes if you're doing something in one space, making a public statement in another space could complicate that, right? So I don't know if that has happened. I cannot say. The other thing is that I know that they are really wanting to get important pieces of labor legislation passed, which would strengthen the trade union movement. In other words, matters dealing with the Retrenchment and Severance Benefits Act, which would ensure that if a company goes into bankruptcy or liquidation, the workers would be guaranteed their severance pay, which is not the case now. Amendments to the Industrial Relations Act, particularly with respect to making it easier for workers to join a trade union of their choice, so that more workers can become members of trade unions. The trade unions could regain strength, because the unions have gotten very weak in terms of their numerical strength through massive job cuts and retrenchment and company closures. Petrotrin, 4,000 or 5,000 workers lost their jobs, only 2 lost those members. TSCT, major retrenchment there. Communication workers lost membership, and there were a number of other workplaces like that. So I know that the unions need to regain numerical strength, and through getting back numerical strength and more workers being members of unions, they'll become a greater social force, as we were in the 80s into the early 90s, certainly 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s, because trade union membership as a percentage of the labor force probably is 20% or less. Whereas when I was active in the union movement in the 70s into the 80s and so on, it was well into the 30s and 40s and so on. So that needs to be dealt with, and perhaps it's a tactical move that they want to try to leverage, as I said, their political capital to get those things done. But hopefully they will get labor legislation done quickly, because if it doesn't, when I say quickly, before too much time passes in this term of this government, because if it comes down near the end of the term, then it's not going to happen. And so the strategy of the coalition of interests would not necessarily have yielded the kind of fruit that they would have expected or hoped for. So we will see as time goes. And the budget, yes, I think we're all waiting for the budget to drop. Not in the same way as previous, long time. We are all old enough to remember, when the budget was about to happen, people used to go and fill up the car with gas and so on,
Mm.
right? Because they thought the price of gas would have gone up, or people went out and bought foodstuffs because when you had price controls, in the days of price controls, which ended many decades ago, people used to go and buy food in expectation that there would be a price rise announced in the budget and things like that. Of course, the budget doesn't implement those kinds of policies anymore. It's mostly about other kinds of tax measures. But this budget would be particularly significant because it would indicate how the government is going to deal with matters like the foreign exchange crisis, diversification of the economy, job creation. Are they going to announce any specific measures of reconstructing URP and CPEP? Because the criticism I made as soon as the CPEP thing happened, I did have a press conference on that, and I said that if you were aware that there was a problem in CPEP, then there were different ways of going about it. You didn't have to terminate all the contractors at the same time. Certainly, all the workers didn't have to be let go. There were ways of doing that transition if there were allegations of corruption, of dealing with the corruption, without throwing out the baby with the bathwater, which seems to be of what happened. Similar with URP. The issue of ghost gangs in URP, and whether you know that, the issue of ghost gangs in the URP goes back decades.
Way back.
Right? A colleague of mine, Jimmy Singh, who lived up on Erica Street. Jimmy was at one time the president of the Jude Workers Committee or group when Jude were permanent workers or members actually of the National Union of Government and Federated Workers. And then so he was very active and involved and knew what was going on and so on, and living in Lamington in Erica Street. And he used to tell me the stories of the bad boys on the block going down by URP offices and demanding with their influencer, which was not a person but an object, with an influencer very visible, demanding gangs and jobs and all kind of stuff. So this thing has been going on for a very long time. So that successive governments, PNM partnership, back to PNM and so on, had that reality of ghost gangs. I was never cleaned up. So there's always been that corruption and criminality and advantaging ordinary people. Women were forced to do things they ought not to be forced to do to get a job, to get a 10 days, as the saying goes. People had to sign forms saying that they were employed when they were not employed, so certain people could cash in all the monies at the month end. All of that has been going on for a long time. So yes, it needed cleaning up, no doubt about that. But you didn't necessarily have to send home all of the monthly paid workers in order to achieve that objective.
Yeah. What about the promise of the 10% increase for public servants? Do you expect that to become a reality in this upcoming budget?
I certainly think they will have to make a clear statement. The Minister of Finance has been hedging it in his press comments when he said that negotiations are to start over those matters. Now, we don't know. He was kind of indicating that will start in this coming fiscal year, suggesting that the negotiations have not yet started. I would have thought that shortly after coming into office, the negotiations would have started, and that there would have been some meeting of the minds as to how the government, having made that campaign promise, how they were going to implement both the recurrent expenditure of the new salary increase, whatever that amount would have been, and how they would have met the back pay. Now, the issue of the back pay is always more problematic than the implementing of a new salary increase, because the new salary increase might bump up your expenditure by a couple, $100 million, whereas the back pay may cost you a couple $1 billion because of the accumulation of it over a long period of time. So how they deal with that, there are creative ways. I don't want to necessarily suggest publicly now, but there are creative ways of trying to address that. The NER government came up with NETT, I think it was, way back in the day. That didn't materialize. Other people, the last government, Mr. Imber, offered bonds on more than one occasion to deal with the arrears of VAT. You remember that? And so one can do similar things with your debt to citizens. So if there were bonds for that, then there could be bonds for back pay. I'm not saying that should be the way to go. I'm just saying that's an option, which means that you don't have to come up with all the cash right away and so on. And the bonds could then be encashable by the bondholders, namely public servants who are owed the money. They could be encashable in different ways, right? So I just leave that out there in the ether, and reference what happened with the VAT bonds.
But David, how would it work though? Because if you were to give the PSA 10%, you also have other unions, whether it be fire services, prisons, etc., who accepted the 4%. And so there would be a certain kind of disparity in the public sector with regard to pay levels. Is it that they will have to, let's assume they honor the platform promise and they give the PSA 10%. What happens to the other parts of the public sector that were awarded 4%?
Well, there's no legal obligation on the part of the employer, who is the CPO, to then say that the 4% that had been signed on and signed off on by those unions that agreed to the 4% would automatically be entitled to 10, yes, or more, whatever the PSA settles at. There's no legal obligation on the part of the employer. Now, there was a situation, if you remember, when the partnership was there, when Watson Duke, as president of the PSA, signed off on, I think it was it 5% or something like that? I try to remember the exact amount now. And other unions didn't. And ODB2 then, I was general secretary. Although I was a senator at the time, I actually signed the strike notice as general secretary of the ODB2 to Petrotrin. The strike never started, but the strike notice was signed, and the hours were counting down to the start of the strike. And the union eventually settled for a 9% increase for Petrotrin workers, and then other groups of workers got 9%. Duke was very unhappy about that and tried to get something like that. The government then settled with Duke in a subsequent negotiation for a very large amount, was it 14%? And other unions never got settled towards the end of the partnership period. So I think they settled at 40% as a kind of a way of bringing the public servants, not up to oil worker salary, but to give them some kind of increase that would have recognized that Duke had settled for a lower figure earlier, because he actually was demanding the 9% after he had already signed the 4%. So there's no obligation, legal obligation by any employer to renegotiate what was already signed off on. What may then have to happen is that in the periods going forward, the periods after the 6 years that were signed off on by those unions at 4%, they may now have to look at what they would expect to get that would bring them back up to something of the magnitude of what the PSA signed off on with 10. Of course, that 10 is for the first 3 years. It doesn't include anything going forward. So the unions will have to think about those things and work that out, and then the employer would have to respond.
Yeah, David, how do we repair our relationship with Venezuela in light of the comments made by the Prime Minister and what is happening with the Dragon gas deal, which was said to be off and now it appears to be on again?
Yes, well, of course, the first thing that we need to know is what was actually agreed upon between the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, because it simply said, the Secretary of State statement said that they understood Trinidad and Tobago's energy security needs and therefore agreed to Trinidad and Tobago's proposals with respect to the Dragon field. Now, we don't know what Trinidad and Tobago's proposals are with respect to the Dragon field, because the Secretary of State also said very clearly that in that statement that whatever happens, it must not be to the material benefit of the Maduro government. Well, I think I use the word regime. But our dog, which is in the house, is kind of beginning to fuss a little bit. can we hold for a moment and let him out, and then I'll come back to you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks a million. Yeah.
So, Richard is a dog person. I'm not. I used to be. You know, I know how important it is. Richard, you have house dogs too, don't you? Where did he go?
I don't know. He just fell off the map.
Yeah, hello? No, I'm right here.
Just our apologies. David Abdullah is just letting his dog out that started the fuss. You know, and when we come back, he will finish the interview. We just have about 5 minutes left, if so much, of the interview in terms of his opinion on the Dragon gas deal, on, off, how do we fix the situation between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Maybe Yesenia Gonzalez might have an idea how it's to be fixed.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm back. Yes, my wife took care of that. Probably, yes. Yeah.
Not like a good wife.
Oh, yeah. I hear you, and I know, Richard, you had a play like that, right? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. You always know.
Yeah, a variation of it.
A variation of it. All right. Well, what about a good husband? All right. Yeah, no, our daughter's husky actually, and they're very sociable dog. Is lying down right with me. And normally he's quiet all the time when I'm doing these programs, but obviously got an antsy about something. Yeah. So the issue of Venezuela Trinidad Tobago relationship is very problematic at this point in time. I was making the point that we are not really aware of what the proposals are by Trinidad Tobago. Now, the earlier OFAC license, the original one that had been obtained by the last government, indicated that the government of Venezuela, because of the US sanctions, which I maintain are illegal and illegitimate sanctions because they were imposed unilaterally by the United States, not UN authorized sanctions. But the US uses its military and economic power to impose sanctions on countries to try to get its way. It's bullying, it's wrong, it's a colonial and imperialist agenda, and I call a spade a spade. But that is the reality at the moment. So under the license that had originally been granted, the government at the time had made arrangements with Venezuela for Venezuela obviously to get some benefit because Venezuela's gas is Venezuela's wealth. So Trinidad and Tobago cannot sign away Venezuela's wealth so that Trinidad and Tobago benefits and Venezuela gets nothing from its wealth. That's just sovereign wealth. So what the details of those arrangements we are not aware of. That would have been part of the agreement between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Venezuela obviously was satisfied by what Trinidad and Tobago had obtained in the OFAC license, the original OFAC license from the US. So that Venezuela would have gotten some benefits. They needed to get something out of their gas, right? If not cash, they need to get something. And Trinidad and Tobago government had worked that out in a balancing act between the US and Venezuela and so on. Now, the issue is what would be the new OFAC license? What is the proposal by Trinidad and Tobago? And if the terms of the OFAC license or the proposals by Trinidad and Tobago are not acceptable to Venezuela because Venezuela would not get what it thinks is its fair share of its natural resource wealth, then Venezuela will simply say, you can't come into our waters to put down pipeline and production facilities. So it is both the relationship between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago, which is bad, as we all know. But even before we get to going to Caracas to talk, we have to find out what would be the terms that we will be going to Caracas with to say to Caracas, this is beneficial to you, because this is Venezuela's gas that we are discussing, not our gas.
Yes.
I mean, we don't have much time left. But with regard to, in terms of the interview, we have about a couple of minutes left, David. But in terms of that whole issue with Maduro, that's also something. I know that we have interviewed unions before on Maduro in our previous iteration, and they were very supportive of Maduro and what was happening in Venezuela. And those same unions who are now parts of the current administration are ominously silent in terms of the exchange of words between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, and of course Trinidad and Tobago's stance on Venezuela. Is this just an alignment simply of interests and self-interest, so that interests circumvent principle, as it does in politics?
Richard, you're very pointed this morning. All right, so let me say that one very good thing is that there is a strong progressive voice out there that will stand on principle, and that is the voice of the MSJ. And we therefore will make our statements without fear. We speak truth to power regardless, and so on. And so you could bank on that. The country could bank on that. The issue of the unions, really, I think you need to ask them that and get them to respond instead of my interpreting their positions. Yes, the President of the ODQ made a more nuanced statement on the issue of the Caribbean being a zone of peace. He reiterated that it should be and remain a zone of peace, but then he also spoke about the need to deal with narco traffickers and so on. So that was a much more nuanced statement than the ones that I have made, where I've been categorical on the matter. But I do think you need to speak with them. I do know that I'm sure that the unions still have, well, some of the unions, not all, but some of the unions still have bilateral relations with unions in Venezuela. In terms of the MSJ, I've been very open and transparent about it. The MSJ has bilateral relations with the party that is in power in Venezuela, the PSUV, United Socialist Party of Venezuela. We have a bilateral relationship. In fact, the MSJ is the only political party in the country that has bilateral, that's party-to-party relations with many parties internationally. Yes, I just came back from Mexico, which is why, Sir Charles, I couldn't do the program when you asked me, and when you called me, I said I can't take this call because you run up my roaming phone bill and I don't have money to pay, right? But I was in Mexico at the invitation of the Workers' Party of Mexico. And it's not the first time I've been there. For 6-7 times. They have an annual conference. And so we have a bilateral relationship with the Workers' Party of Mexico, which is in government, in coalition with the Morena Party. And so they're part of the government of Mexico. We have bilateral relations, obviously, the Communist Party of Cuba, and with the Workers' Party of Brazil. I met with the head of international relations of the Workers' Party of Brazil. We've had a relationship with them, and so on, and many other parties. I met with the Workers' Party of Belgium, the head of that party, when I was in Mexico, and there are many others throughout the parties in Haiti and in Dominican Republic, parties in Puerto Rico, the independence movements in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican Socialist Party, and so on. So we have relations with parties in Martinique and in Guadeloupe and in St. Lucia and so on. So yes, we have that kind of relationship, and we take positions quite openly. And it was very sad that I had to, I spoke at the conference in Mexico. I'll release it on Facebook, my clip later today or over the next few days. But I also unfortunately had to criticize the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago for the statements that she made at the UN and elsewhere in that international forum. I mean, I didn't attack her in any personal way, but I just said it's regrettable that our Prime Minister took a position which, is contrary to CARICOM and everything else, and so on. When I'm here in Trinidad and Tobago, my statement should be much more explicit because I'm in Trinidad and Tobago. In an international forum, I will criticize, but with respect. Yes. Yeah,
gentlemen, we have to cut it there. We have gone past a little bit, and before we get wrapped on our knuckles from Sir Charles, Mr. Abdullah, thank you very much for joining us, and certainly for giving the position of MSJ, and certainly we appreciated it very much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Take care. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks a lot, David.
All right. Of course, our guest was David Abdullah, head of the MSJ Movement for Social Justice, weighing in on a lot of the issues that are facing Trinidad and Tobago and international at large. All right, we'll do news, and then we come back, we'll say goodbye.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. The American Chamber of Commerce of Trinidad and Tobago has welcomed news of U.S. support for the Dragon Gas proposal. In a statement, AmCham TNT said, "It is hopeful this will lead to the granting of the necessary licenses from the U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control." The Chamber commended Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar for securing Washington's backing, calling it a reaffirmation of the strong partnership between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States. AmCham added it is optimistic the government will engage Venezuela and private sector players to ensure the project benefits citizens of both nations. The Dragon gas field off Venezuela's coast has faced delays due to U.S. sanctions, with GOFAC approval seen as critical to moving forward. The Japanese government says it is closely monitoring rising tensions between the United States and Venezuela in the Caribbean. Tokyo officials voiced concern over the recent U.S. naval buildup and Venezuela's military response, which has brought operations closer to Trinidad and Tobago's shores. Suzuki Ritsuko of Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Japan continues to call for dialogue and respect for international law while carefully observing the situation. The U.S. has deployed warships and submarines after designating Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua a terrorist group, while Venezuela has launched Sovereign Caribbean 200 and moved troops to Sucre State near the Gulf of Paria. Japan, a key energy partner that imports LNG from Trinidad and Tobago, warned that the escalation poses risks for regional stability. A police officer is fighting for his life after being shot multiple times in Aruca early Wednesday morning. He has been identified as 51-year-old PC Eamon Andrews, attached to the Aruca police station. Around 2:45 a.m., residents reported hearing gunshots on Constantine Street. When his common-law wife rushed outside, she found him bleeding on the sidewalk. First responders took Andrews to Mount Hope Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery for gunshot wounds to his chest, back, and leg. Investigators recovered 4 spent shells and believe his licensed firearm was stolen in the attack. Police say welfare officers have been assigned, and enquiries are ongoing. 2 visitors from London were robbed at knife point in St. Clair on Tuesday night. Police say the women, aged 25 and 28, were attacked around 9 p.m. while walking back to their apartment on Picton Street after a stop at the Queen's Park Savannah. 2 men approached them from behind in the poorly lit roadway, placed knives to their neck and stomach, and announced a robbery. The assailants escaped with both women's crossbody bags, which contained 2 iPhones, AirPods, cash, and other personal items. The women were not physically injured, but officers are continuing investigations. The National Petroleum Marketing Company is reminding the public to follow critical safety steps when handling LPG cylinders after the death of 47-year-old Rhea George. George died at the San Fernando General Hospital on Saturday, nearly 2 months after suffering burns in a kitchen explosion, allegedly caused by a leaking NP cylinder. In expressing condolences to her family, NP urged customers to perform a soapy water test at all cylinder connections before use, and to immediately disconnect the cylinder if a leak is suspected. The company stressed that safety remains paramount and that all LPG cylinders are inspected before distribution. Customers are also advised to report issues to their distributor or contact NP directly via its hotline, WhatsApp, or email. George's funeral arrangements are pending an autopsy. In the region, Georgetown, Guyana, President Irfan Ali is urging CARICOM leaders to approach the growing U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean with eyes wide open. Ali says, while some leaders may see the presence of American warships as positive, the situation demands careful discussion, especially with threats like drug trafficking, illegal migration, and the use of regional waters for transshipment. The United States has deployed submarines, aircraft, destroyers, and an amphibious squadron to the southern Caribbean as part of its crackdown on drug cartels. Venezuela has since moved troops to its borders in response. Trinidad and Tobago has declared support for Washington's actions, with Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar telling the UN that the Caribbean is no longer a zone of peace. Ali, however, insists Guyana will continue to push diplomacy over hostility. Internationally, millions of U.S. federal workers are now at home without pay, while others in critical services, from airport security and air traffic control to the postal service and the military, must keep working despite the government shutdown. The deadlock in Congress stems from Democrats insisting on preserving healthcare benefits for the poor, while Republicans push for cuts. House Speaker Mike Johnson accused Democrats of holding the government hostage, while Democrats say President Trump is deliberately hurting ordinary people. Shutdowns aren't new, but they've become longer and more bitter in today's divided politics. This one has turned personal, with Trump posting mocking videos of Democratic leaders online, videos they denounced as bigoted. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Don't miss Furniture Plus Inventory Blowout Sale. Get up to 65% off in-store and online. Enjoy massive savings on furniture, appliances, and more. Hurry, this deal won't last. Shop now and save big at Furniture Plus.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
The best show by far for 2025.
You don't leave out to watch Corn is the #1 comedy of 2025. And this weekend we head to Sapa in San Fernando on Saturday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m.
I never knew these plays were this good. I'm not missing another one.
Tickets available at the Sapa Box from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And at K-Squared Fashion, C3 Center and Brentford Mall, Chagonas, as well as Friends of Marabella by the Roundabout. A play so funny, you can't watch it once.
So this is where we break up. This is where the breakfast show comes to an end for this morning. Of course, I just wanted to remind you that You Don't Leave Foul to Watch Corn is on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Sapa in San Fernando, Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Of course, tickets available at the Sapa box office, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily, and at K-Squared Fashions in C3 Center and Brentford Mall in Chagonas. And of course, Friends of Marabella by the Roundabout. You can also purchase tickets online. You can check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media handles, on the social media handle on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for information of how to purchase tickets online. We're looking forward to it. The weekend begins tonight, people, at the second after midnight. Remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
Folks, take a screenshot of that. Go out, Sir Charles. Take a screenshot of that.
Forget I have the power too.
The battle of the Muppets.
Forget I have the power, Wendell.
It's been a wonderful day. Have an absolutely beautiful day. Remember to let go and let go.
It's been the breakfast show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Tune in to the Cheryl Taylor Radio Show.